So there's this video that's been going viral lately called the 7 Levels of Rapper by a content creator named Duplay. Not too familiar with anything he's really put out, but this video has caught a lot of buzz, a lot of traction, and there's like dead end hip hop arguing about it, and seeing lots of screenshots on Twitter about people being a bit annoyed by the video. I was a little skeptical of it, I will say, going into it, but it was brought to my attention in a comment on my YouTube channel here. And it made me think, you know what? Let me check it out. Let's see how this is. And honestly, it might be a little bit overly simplistic with its sort of terminology throughout the video. But I actually thought it was quite an entertaining video, and it got me thinking. How about I create my own list using the criteria that was set out and made in that video, and give you guys 5 rappers per category. So I'm going to go through the levels. Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Level 1 being the worst, level 7 being the best, and I'm just going to give you 5 per one. It's not necessarily the definitive 5. I'm obviously leaving out a lot of names, and some big names you might be wondering why I don't mention. I've just gone with these picks, and I've got things to say about each one. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy what I come through with here, and you at least agree with my picks. And yeah, let me know what your picks in the comments would be. If you obviously don't know about this video, you should probably watch that first and come back here so you understand the context of what I'm going through here with the list. And yeah, like I say, hopefully no major disagreements, although maybe some. And yeah, enjoy the video as always. If you want to see more content like this as well, let me know in the comments. Stick around, subscribe, like the video, share it around, all that good stuff, and yeah, let's go. So Duplay basically starts out with level 1 as being the trash, the absolute abomination of all abominations. There is no real irredeemable qualities to these types of rappers, and they're very hard to justify calling good in any stretch of the imagination. Some of them, it's hard to think they even have a fan base, which sounds harsh, but honestly, they're that bad. And I think really you could throw around that word quite flippantly, but these for me are like the bottom of the barrel 5 picks, I have to say. Starting with somebody like an Ice JJ Fish. I feel like this one doesn't really need explaining, and also it's hard to even know if this guy even takes his own music seriously, honestly. It's really hard to stomach what he's doing and thinking that he's not just kind of joking around. So I haven't got a huge amount to say about him. I'm pretty sure you can just click one song like I Found Jesus and understand why he's down at the bottom here over the Christian imagery over these terrible trap beats and the terrible auto crooning and the terrible attempts at like flowing on the beats and stuff. Doesn't really need a huge amount of explanation. I also want to mention for this tier though, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Tekashi 6ix9ine was in fact pretty big at one point, and it was hard to get through that era. There were people defending him. There were people that were raging in anger when you said he was bad. I lived through it, man. I saw the comments. I saw what people were saying. He had a rabid fan base. But this guy is truly an abomination. Just cannot find a vocal note. Just screams and yells in an awful way. There's a place for that kind of music, but in the way he does it, it's grim. The beat selection is atrocious. He has no ear for anything. There's no good rapping going on here at all. And that's without even mentioning the type of person he is. Like, I've just said all these terrible things, and yet if you read up on the kind of person he is, it makes it even worse. So yeah, even without all that, he's still in this bottom tier because it's just awful. Tom McDonald is my 3rd mention here. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to explain this one without just like getting annoyed, but you know who he is if you're aware of hip-hop and follow online circles. He's like the savior of the anti-woke agenda to some people, but there's no like interesting commentary going on. His voice is awful. His beat selection and ear for music, again, like Tekashi 6ix9ine, is terrible. He has Ben Shapiro on a song. Friggin' Ben Shapiro. And we're meant to take this guy seriously. At times it feels like it's a grift, and he's just saying the things that he wants kind of like right-wing conservative listeners to be hearing. It does feel very grifty, but even if it isn't a grift or whatever, or if it is or it isn't, I don't care. It's atrocious. He is irredeemable for me. Has to be in this bottom tier. I also want to say Lil Mabu, maybe the worst on this list in terms of like actually is clearly taking this seriously. Like there's no self-awareness for the fact that these songs sound bad and the rhyming and everything else is atrocious. And my final pick, a bit low-hanging fruit here, but Uncle Adams, come on, man. Yeah, sure. Again, maybe a little bit like Ice JJ Fish, not fully like a serious rapper in the way that those other ones I've mentioned on this list are, but it's bad. It's bad. And that's why I wanted to mention these five here, because there's a difference between this and the level 2 tier. You need to make that, in your mind. You don't want to be flippant with the level 1 tier. This is like the bottom of the bottom, man. Level 2 is bad, but you'll see why they're level 2 and they're not level 1. Iggy Azalea being my first pick for level 2. Do you see there's a clear difference? She's bad, but like it's a different kind of bad to that level 1. And in his video, he kind of talks about how the level 2s maybe like stick to one flow. They don't really change things up too much. There's maybe a couple of good songs here and there, but like the majority of it is just bad. And I think Iggy Azalea kind of exemplifies that really well. It's not like the worst of the worst, because Fancy's kind of catchy. Like I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to seek it out. But it's not as bad as like anything Uncle Adams ever made. So yeah, that's why she lands in 2 for me as opposed to 1. And that black scent that she did for her career, it's kind of crazy. Like we always do this. We let these weird things get really popular and viral, and then we look back and go, wasn't that weird that we let like an Australian girl speak like she's a black man from from Atlanta in America? Like, isn't that weird? And yet at the time it's just like accepted and nobody cares. But it goes to show the kind of consumerism that surrounds hip-hop as an art form. I know obviously I'm white, so I understand that there may be some people that will go, oh come on, how can you be speaking on behalf of this genre? But I've lived it, particularly living in the UK, being a British guy. Like, you can have all of this talent that is incredible and accessible for the average person, but it'll get completely ignored in favor of the white person that comes in and does the exact same thing that all of the other black rappers have been doing for years. It's very see-through, and you can clearly see how people navigate around with picking their favorites when it comes to hip-hop. Again, maybe a conversation for a separate day, but I think Iggy Azalea does exemplify that really well. Lil Pump, again, I was never really on board with the whole Lil Pump thing, and Fantano validating people liking that terrible mixtape at the start of his career didn't help. I've got to shout out Fantano in a negative way here, man. You don't need to be doing that. You didn't need to give it a 7. You made people think that it was okay to like this shit, man. It wasn't, and it's aged terribly, and he got worse after that too. There's very little to, point to for Lil Pump as being good. Sometimes the beats hit hard though, so it was kind of like if you switch your brain off, it's not the worst thing in the world, but still level 2, just not quite level 1, I would say. Machine Gun Kelly basically doesn't even make rap music now, so it's hard to really remind people who weren't there or weren't paying attention when he was making serious rap music. People just remember him for the Eminem beef. But no, he was terrible before that and was not making good music. Clearly a level 2 here, but not the worst thing in the world. I also want to mention Vanilla Ice. Similar to what I was saying with Iggy, very much the poster child for hip hop for a really decent period of time. I mean, the sales he got from that first album, you wouldn't believe it if I told you. You're gonna look it up. Trust me, did insane numbers, and it's terrible. And I was tempted to put him in level 1. I really was, because there's that one song on the album where he like does this Jamaican accent thing and tries to do this reggae rap fusion. It's as bad as it sounds. And for that song alone, I was tempted to put him in level 1. But honestly, it's just really corny. It's just really lame. It should never have been as big as it was. And nobody really goes back to any of it now and champions it. It's quite weird how that can happen in music. That's why the sales conversation will always be bizarre to me in all genres. Because it's like the amount of sales he made from this, and yet there's no cultural impact at all. Nobody talks about it. Nobody treats it as a classic 30 years later. It's kind of wild. So yeah, a shocker really. And then my final pick for level 2 is Kodak Black. I want to kind of diversify my picks for these levels and give you a range of different types of rappers within the tiers, because he's very different to anybody else on this tier, and he also has more credibility than anybody else on this tier. Like, I've kind of gone for low-hanging fruit here, whereas Kodak Black actually has a bit of respect in the game of hip-hop, and people actually kind of view him as an influential figure. But it's terrible music, man. Like, there's nothing unique or good about it when you listen to it. It's shocking. Yeah, I'm not here to let anybody defend Kodak Black. It's really bad. So now we're at level 3, which is the mid tier, which he brands as like the kind of backgroundy music that's really not engaging, and you just kind of stick on. There's really no substance to it. There's really nothing to it. All that kind of stuff. The typical stuff that people use is mid. Again, a term that I'm a bit sick of being thrown around. But for me, I've just kind of called this a mediocre tier, a tier of rappers that there may be something there, but there's very little that I get out of them. And again, this is all personal opinion, by the way. Like, this isn't an objective list. I'm just going with my picks, because my first pick is not going to be one that people will like, I don't think. But Childish Gambino perfectly fits this tier for me, especially when you stick on his early work, like Camp. I mean, Camp is so bad, he honestly could have dropped to level 2. But it doesn't always stay that bad. Like, Camp is just a really terrible mixtape. And he did get better at rapping after that. But it's been very, very messy. And his best ever album is one where he doesn't even rap at all and does like a whole like funky soul throwback to the 70s, which kind of says it all with how good of a rapper he is, really. Like, you shouldn't be making your best album in a completely different genre, bro. Yeah, Childish Gambino exemplifies this perfectly for me. Very little replay value in any of his projects, even though, because the internet is considered a concept, but I just don't see there being much to kind of sink your teeth into. And the fact that he's trying to shoot for something and it fails, for me personally, just drops him easily into this level 3 tier. I also want to say Cardi B, written her down as well for this one. Cardi B is a good example of this for me, because again, you might just hear it out and about, and you're not going to get completely mad when I Like It comes on. But it's just like very average music, and all of the singles she's dropped since that first album have been pretty poor. I just don't think there's much going on here. I don't think her like rhyming is impressive. I don't think her flows are particularly impressive. Like, to me, she's just a very classic mid-tier rapper. I know she's very different to Childish Gambino, so some people might be thinking, how are they in the same tier? But it's just how I personally feel about both of them. They both do very little for me, for different reasons, I would say. Also want to mention Macklemore. Again, kind of like there is something you can see there. There is something to the rapping. He can rhyme, he can flow on a beat, but like the bars aren't really that great. He's very corny. He can't really like string much of an enjoyable album together. All of his projects are pretty weak. I think there's at least, with Macklemore, like, I don't want to put him in bad in the level 2 tier, because I think there's like his heart's in the right place is what I'm trying to say. Like, the things he raps about on tracks like Same Love, and there was I think a track not too long ago which was like a pro-Palestine one, I believe. Like, you can see there's something in his vision that's like he's trying to do the right thing, but it just comes out really badly is what I'm trying to say. It just ends up being meh. Also want to mention Slick Rick. I'm going to throw in some old school rappers here, guys, in these tiers. I think Slick Rick might rustle a few feathers, but honestly, if you sit and listen to a Slick Rick album, it's not really that good. His voice is quite grating after a while too. He's very goofy. A lot of his bars are really poor. And apart from Children's Story, which I think is a very influential song, and honestly could be like very easily listed in like a top 50 best rap song of all time, I think it's that good. Outside of that, Slick Rick's not really that good. My final pick for the level 3 tier is Lil Baby. Lil Baby, I think for me, I could have again justified putting him lower, but I don't know. I don't like his albums, but I can see there's a vibe there. And I think if you take him in small doses, I wouldn't necessarily mind hearing a song here and there every now and then. But it's when you put him in the long form and you sit through, 40-50 minute projects, it becomes really tedious. So I think he fits quite well in the meta tier, in the kind of level 3 mid tier here. But again, for me, a little bit like Cardi B, I could have justified putting him one tier lower, but I think he fits here well. Level 4 is described as the okay tier. This is the one where there are glimpses of really good stuff, but it's not consistent, and it's not like enough for the rapper to be pushed any higher than this. And this is the tier that if you're watching this video still, you may click away, and if you're subscribed to me, you may unsubscribe, because there are many controversial picks here, and I've not done it on purpose, but I genuinely couldn't think of 5 rappers that exemplified this tier perfectly for me more than these. I'm too scared, man. I'm going to have to run and hide, but basically 2 of the big 3 make it into this tier for me. J. Cole being one. I think, again, there is something great there. I think there is something really impressive. He can drop a song like Clouds, and I can listen to the rhymes, I can listen to the bars, and I can think, wow, there is something definitely impressive here. I then tune into the flows and his delivery and everything else outside of the bars, and I don't think I get much enjoyment out of it. I'm struggling, man, with J. Cole. Forest Hills Drive's a struggle for me. I think there are some really good moments. Again, it's just like moments. This is kind of like the moments tier for me personally. Like, I know it's not necessarily defined as that in the video that Duplay put out, but for me, this kind of is that. It's like I can see it. I'm seeing it right now, and then it's just not done over a consistent period of time, and the entire albums can be a bit of a slog to get through. And yeah, it's just overall struggling to see the overall package. And yeah, J. Cole fits this tier perfectly for me, as does the other person from the big 3, Drake. Again, exemplifies this perfectly. Now, the thing with Drake is that I do think J. Cole is a better rapper, because I could justify putting J. Cole as at least the next tier above. I could. But I think Drake has a bit more of a way to engage me when I'm listening. Even if his bars aren't always that good, like on a track like What Did I Miss, I at least still think there's a bit of a delivery there, there's a bit of an energy there. He knows how to make a catchy, poppy rap crossover that, again, I can enjoy. I can kind of just hear in a bar and be like, I enjoy this. This is good for the moment. God's Plan, Nice for What. Like, he has those songs, but when you dig further and you dig deeper, there is a lot of filler bars and a lot of weak lines. Even on his most acclaimed, beloved rap songs, you can dig further into the bars, and there isn't a great deal of substance there. So yeah, Drake fits into this one quite nicely for me, and very easily as well. We're going to keep going, bro, because next we're going to mention Jid, who is also affiliated with the Dreamville camp. And Jid, I think, again, if we're looking at in terms of rapping ability, is obviously better than a Drake. But Jid, for me, the lyrical, spiritual, miracle vibe, I'm very surprised it has so much acclaim, because a lot of this rap in the 2010s, towards the end of the 2010s, really started to get completely mocked. I'm looking at people like Logic, and they got trashed for just having these speedy flows and not really saying a great deal. And Eminem started to get clocked for it as well. I mean, Eminem in the 2010s was very shaky, and people were starting to look at him and going, actually, bro, you're doing this. Yeah, we see what you're doing. There's not a great deal of substance coming through here. And honestly, sometimes with Jid, I think it's similar. I think, again, he's definitely got a talent there where he could be higher up, but he's just fine to me. He's just fine to me, and I don't think there's a huge amount of excitement that I get out of listening to a Jid song. That's just where I'm at with him. Next pick, JPEG Mafia, who I think people would probably be at least understanding of why he's here, because I think you go to JPEG Mafia's music for the production. You do. You definitely do. His production, honestly, could be like 2 or 3 tiers above this one, and I wouldn't be mad. I'd get that. If we were doing a producer list, I would, but for me, level 4 is where he's at as a rapper, man. He has a lot of really terrible bars that he gets away with, because, again, people are just there for the beats, but I hear them I listen, and I'm not here for it, man. And his delivery can be quite yappy and annoying sometimes. Yeah, again, I think there are some great tracks. I think, All My Heroes Are Cornballs is a good album. That's still my favorite Peggy album. So I'm not going to say he's, anything lower than this, but I can't put him higher, especially when you see what's coming next in the next level 5. Like, you will get it. And finally, again, a bit of an old school pick here, but for me, Big Daddy Kane, don't think there's too much impressive going on here. I think over time, we kind of look back now, and there's so many great rappers that have come over the years that somebody like Big Daddy Kane kind of drops down the pecking order. He was cool. He had some good songs and stuff, but yeah, it's nothing really all that special. So now that you've clicked away from the video and about 2 of you are still watching, this is a good tier, level 5. This is good. They're not quite great in terms of their rapping ability, or they have shown greatness, but I don't know if it's been as consistent across the board for a long period of time. I think a good starting point, honestly, might be Danny Brown here. I think he is very good, and I think album output is very consistent. Honestly, I think, from XXX right through up until Quaranta, I think that was a bit of a drop-off to me personally. But I think consistently he was very impressive with his rapping. But again, there's a little bit of a Peggy thing for Danny Brown here. And I know I'm not just saying that because they made a collab project together. I really hope you don't think I'm just saying that because of that. I'm not. I think it's sometimes the aesthetics and Danny Brown's really distinct and unique and one-of-a-kind delivery is what draws people in. I don't necessarily always think I'm completely listening to this phenomenal rapper from start to finish on an album. Again, there are some amazing rapping tracks throughout his career, obviously, but yeah, I think he's good. I don't think I can put him higher than good. I think putting him lower than good would be ridiculous. But I think good's fine. I feel like I don't need to justify this one too much. I think anybody watching this would at least understand why I'm putting Danny Brown here, especially when, again, you see what's higher up, because it gets really good. It gets good, guys. I also think Earl Sweatshirt fits nicely into this tier as well. I think Some Rap Songs is phenomenal. I think I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside is a really good album. But yeah, I don't know. I thought his most recent album wasn't that good, actually. And yeah, there's been some moments where, is the versatility there? Do I feel like I'm getting very similar things across every album? And that would be a reason to hold him in this good tier, as opposed to putting him in any higher for me personally. A similar case with Freddie Gibbs, who, again, has signs, and all of these rappers in this tier do, of pure excellence. Pinata is one of my favorite rap albums of all time, but I don't think he holds that consistency across the entire discography. I think his solo work is usually just fine. It's nothing that special. So yeah, I think he's good. And I think, again, when you look at versatility, does he really rap about any fresh topics from album to album? Not really. I think he sticks in one lane when it comes to that, so I don't think he can be any higher than this for me personally. I think he'd need to show a little bit more of a fresher perspective on a new album for me to maybe consider it. And yeah, maybe some newer producers to work with as well. We've done a few, Madlib albums now. We've done a few Alchemist albums now. Let's try and shake it up a bit. I also want to mention Future here, who is maybe a little bit surprising, because I do talk about Future in a really positive way on this channel. And I think he's fantastic as an artist. But as a rapper, I mean, you could maybe justify putting him lower than level 5, honestly. His rapping ability is not that amazing. I think, again, similar to a Peggy, a Danny Brown, you're not going to a Future album for specifically just the rapping. You're looking at other things that carry the elements to a new level. And yeah, again, similar to Freddie, the topics are the same all the time, really. So I love Future, and I love so many of his albums and his mixtapes. DS2, Monster, Future Self-Titled. He has a stacked catalogue, but you have to separate the catalogue from the rapper here. He isn't that amazing as a rapper, so I think good is fine. And my final pick, which I think people will get behind, Kanye West. Kanye West is a similar case to what I've said about all of these, really. It's not necessarily the rapping you're going for. I think at times he has shown signs of like a level 7, but generally across the board, I think he's good. And there are, people who have over the years kind of exposed that he didn't write all of his rhymes and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think I listen to all of his bars and I think, wow. I think I'm there for the amazing sampling, amazing feature stacked list that he has on every album, because he just has that kind of pull. It's Kanye West. Like, I'm there for so many things. I'm not necessarily there just for the rapping. So I think he stays at level 5. Level 6, as described in the Do Play video, is the great tier. They fall ever so slightly short of like the GOAT tier, which is level 7, but they are incredibly consistent. They have the credibility. They have really strong output. They rap in ways that, many of the other tiers below can't or don't. They show signs of brilliance across their albums, across their career. And yeah, I think this tier would probably be the least controversial aside from one pick, but I think I can explain that one at the end anyway. But Pusha T. Pusha T is very much easily in this catalogue. In this category, not catalogue, category. Yeah, I think Pusha T is very easily here. Again, with the versatility in terms of what he raps about, it doesn't change up a great deal, but I think the consistency over the years and how he's now nearly 50 and he's picking incredible beats. He raps over the beats, a variation of different types of beats too, by the way. It's not just the same thing every time. In really impressive ways. He finds so many crazy ways to spin the wordplay about the same topics in ways I don't think any other rapper can. Like, if you're rapping about the same thing every time, you can look to Pusha T as the guy who can find a way to talk about that one topic in a totally new way. And yeah, I think the legendary status is there with Pusha T, with years and years and years of great work on solo, great work with clips. Pusha T is easily here, as is Mos Def. Mos Def I was tempted to put higher, but his catalogue is pretty thin, so he hasn't really shown us for many, many years how incredible he really is, because he just doesn't put out much music anymore. So yeah, I think in his prime though, with the Talib Kweli album, even post his prime with his best ever album in 2009, by the way. That album is sensational. Yeah, I think, yeah, he is great. Daveed Diggs, honestly, could again be justified for level 7 in my opinion, just because of how the concepts and the unique ideas he comes up with every album and raps about something totally different in such a unique way. The wordplay is incredible. The speedy flows are insane. This is a good example of what I was saying about Jid before, where it's like, yeah, the flows are cool, but I'm not always that enamored with what he's actually saying. I'm always enamored with what Daveed's saying. It's something special every time. I don't think anyone else really has the vision that he has for the theatrical nature of how he puts together albums about horror short stories, horror stories. This Splendor and Misery album, which is a totally separate beast as well. The most recent album that they put out as well, which was about this like futuristic, nihilistic world where like technology is really taken over and stuff. The cyberpunk aesthetic of that album is just different every single time, and it wows me. So yeah, Daveed Diggs, perhaps one of the most underrated names on this entire video, but has to be here. Little Sims, again, shows signs of being a level 7 rapper in Simbi, the album. I think that's a very much like GOAT tier type of album there. The absolute like just the expensiveness and the richness and the lavishness of the production on that thing. But her rapping is great as well. Yeah, I can't really, justify why she's here. I think it kind of speaks for itself. And then finally, for my level 6 pick, I'm going to say Nas. Now, Nas, again, I would not be mad at anybody putting him in level 7. And if you are mad at me not putting him there, I get it. But I think there's a bit of an inconsistency across the years for Nas. Like, at his best, he's untouchable. But there are drops, and he has been shaky. It was really only up until about 2020 where he started to really come through, and people were like, oh yeah, Nas is back. He's really, the guy is here. Before that, most of the albums up until that point for about 10 years, people kind of didn't really care about or had much good to say about them. So yeah, I think people forget that there was a pretty long period when Nas wasn't at his best, but the longevity is clearly there. He's back on his prime with his most recent stuff. It's been really good to hear. And yeah, I think it's fair. I think level 7 would be fine, but for me, 6. And as I've already mentioned, the level 7 category is the final one, which is the GOAT tier of rappers. This is like the best of the best. And yeah, the Untouchables. And what he said in the video as well, which I thought was a good way to put it, these are like the rappers you can't replicate. Like, there isn't really a way of becoming the new version of that rapper because they're just kind of in a league of their own. And there were many I feel like I could have mentioned here. So if you again are going to be in the comments saying, why didn't you say this person, why didn't you say that person, I've only stuck to 5 per category, as I've already said, so I couldn't fit everybody in. But I think a good place to start for level 7 is Andre 3000. I don't even feel like I need to argue or justify this one. I think honestly, all of these will speak for themselves. I might not even speak a lot in this tier at all because it just makes sense as to why Andre's here. Some people hold the fact that he doesn't make solo music against him. I'm not too mad at that, really. You know, Big Boy went on a solo run and nobody talks about those solo albums. So it's like, you know, did he need a solo run? Like, and you know, Big Boy went solo, and yet still everybody puts Andre above him in their lists. It's like, what does that tell you? Like, it's so weird that there's always an argument about that. But anyway, Andre, come on, his feature run, I think he might be the best feature rapper ever as well. I don't think I've ever said that on record, but I think Andre is the best ever. You know, I don't know. There's a few that are close, but Andre might be the best ever in terms of features. Even now, today, he's not putting out solo material in terms of rapping. But Jesus Christ, if he comes on a feature, you know it's going to be amazing. Like, it's incredible. Also want to mention Black Thought. Again, do I have to say much here? Crazy longevity. Even now, he's putting out albums that don't get a huge amount of buzz. Like, there was one a couple of years ago that didn't get a huge amount of buzz, but it was still really good. Like, if you sit and listen to everything he puts out, it's really high quality. And the types of beats and the types of producers he works with are just so varied. This is the other thing I was saying as well about some of the other tiers where I'm like, I would like to see that rapper just do a bit more new stuff. Show us your ability over a completely different set of beats. I mean, I think Black Thought is the guy that's doing that. Like, he can show us that even though, again, like Pusha T, he's like about 50 now, he's still at the top of his game, and a lot of people in their 20s are not rapping at the level he is. But then when you go to like years before his like now into his prime, all of the stuff with the roots is high quality. Like, Black Thought is absolutely up there for me for level 7, 100%. I also want to mention Q-Tip in a very similar way to Black Thought, in the sense that, you know, his prime was maybe a long time ago, but came back in 2016 with that fantastic comeback album and the Goodbye album. I've just got a soft spot for Tribe. I love Tribe. I think Q-Tip was hard to leave out. Again, I think maybe some people would maybe put him lower, maybe have him in the level 6. Fair enough, but nah, for me, he is definitely level 7. MF Doom has to be here. Yeah, again, hard to really justify or explain it. I think a very unique name and a unique vision in the world of hip-hop. They never really had anybody like this and can't really replicate it even years later. Yeah, MF Doom has to be, man. The heights of his work is crazy as well. Like, Mad Villainy, like, you could justify that as being one of the like top 3 rap albums ever. I think if you've got one of those under your belt, you're kind of just invited to the level 7 tier automatically. And my final pick, you were probably expecting to hear this, but come on, man. Kendrick Lamar, I think, is very clearly a fair, valid pick here for the level 7. It's hitting a point where now that he's had such like mainstream success over the past year, I am starting to see a bit of a pushback against him. Now, that pushback tends to be from Drake fans, but actually, if you look a little bit deeper, there are people that are a bit like, man, I'm a bit sick of hearing these songs on the radio. I'm a little bit sick of seeing this like pop up. It feels like, you know, he's gotten a bit too popular or whatever. But do not be fooled. Even at the height of his career, where he's probably the biggest he's ever been, he still makes a song like Reincarnated. Like, let's not get this twisted, man. There is no way. what rapper at the height of their commercial success makes that song? And then you dig even further into all of his other albums. And, you know, Mr. Morale, what rapper in the history of the genre would even dare do that? People have compared it to 444 by Jay-Z. Yeah, it's personal, it's introspective, and it lays out your dirty laundry, and it highlights your flaws and all of the things that you've, you know, done wrong and you need to improve. But not like Mr. Morale. Like, that is a real, like, wow. And then you've not even started on Good Kid, Mad City or To Pimp a Fly, these incredible conceptual pieces of work. Damn, as well, is a concept album that really, you know, showcases some really great sides to him. He's versatile. He doesn't do the same thing every single time. He's incredible on features as well. Kendrick has it all, man. He is a level 7 rapper without even a shadow of a doubt. And don't be fooled by the beef and how popular he's gotten since that, because this guy was operating at an insane level well before that and has continued that level after that too. Come on. And they are all of the levels of rapper based on the Do Play video that came out about 2 weeks ago at this point. I don't know. This is my opinion, of course, as ever. These are the 5 picks per level of rapper that I have gone with. Obviously, I've not named a load of rappers that haven't even appeared in this video, but I wanted to go with these ones. I had things to say about each one. I had ways to justify them being in those tiers, and hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully you got something out of it. I'd love to see your comments in the underneath and seeing what you guys would put in each one. Again, other content creators, if you watch this, would love to see your own video about this. I think it's a fun little idea. I think it's a fun topic. Again, I was skeptical of the concept initially, but having watched the video, I thought it was really interesting and an entertaining way to break down the different style of rapper that you can get within each tier, because yeah, it's a really interesting way to do it. Thank you as always for watching. Make sure you've subscribed and check more videos out on the channel. Let me know your thoughts. Like the video. If you're feeling very generous as well, check out the Patreon membership page. Support me over on there. Keeps the channel going. I spend a long time on these videos every week, and it's not a full-time thing for me, so hopefully you guys appreciate that. Have a good day, and goodbye.